Hi, Lorena. Thank you for joining. We'll get started probably at like the 12:02 hour or minute. That way we can get through all of Crystal's amazing content.
Yay! Oh, I see the chat now. Gary. Hey, Gary.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Raymond. Thanks for joining, guys. Bazad, am I pronouncing that correctly? Correct. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. Get started here in just a minute. Hi, Joel from Chicago, and Bazad from London and Dentsu. Wonderful. I used to work at Merkle. Those are fantastic. Hey, Rob. Hey, Thomas. That's awesome, Bazad. Happy to hear it. Glad to see you guys here. All right. Well, everyone's coming in. Let's go ahead and kick us off, Cass.
Amazing. Welcome everyone to our Adobe user group. There was a little bit of debate if this was our second one or our third. It's our third, technically. So welcome everybody. I pinned a message to our chat, and that is the link to join our chapter so that you can get notifications every time that we're going to have a new meeting. And we have a lot of exciting content that's coming. So Crystal, if you don't mind going to the next couple of slides here. Today we are going to be having a speaker. We're going to be talking about lessons learned connecting Workfront, Frame.io, and AEM Assets. So start getting all of your questions ready for Crystal. And then we're going to go over agenda and some quick housekeeping information. We're going to do quick introductions. We'll get rid of that, get that out of the way now. My name is Cassandra Lang. I'm the manager of marketing technology at Baptist Health in Miami, Florida. And I also serve as the system admin for Workfront and AEM. And I love helping our team drive better workflows, collaboration, and just overall efficiency. And I'm really excited to be here and to share our experience and answer your questions. Autumn, I'll let you do your introduction now.
Yep. So my name is Autumn Earl. I'm a lead business consultant at Proficient. I'm also, along with Cass, a Workfront champion with Adobe. I have been working in AEM and Workfront for probably about 15 years now between the two systems. I love anything to do with content supply chain, and I help customers implement pretty much anything that you can think of along the content supply chain space within their Adobe products. I'm so really excited to be here. I'm really think this is going to be a fantastic session that Crystal has, and we'll get to her introductions in just a minute. But we do have a few housekeeping items that we are going to go through.
All right, perfect. So the next slide, I just wanted to notify everybody that this group meeting is being recorded. If you have an issue with that, feel free to jump off this call. We will be sending a recording afterwards, and feel free to send your questions our way. I think I have my email there. Yes, cassandra.lang@baptisthealth.net if you have any additional questions. Okay, so having said that, we'll go to the next slide. Here's how to stay connected with our chapter. Again, if you just jumped in, I pinned at the top of the chat the link to join our WUG, the content supply chain. It's global. If you want to stay in touch and you want to be notified of all of our meetings, you want to join the chapter, because otherwise you're not going to find out. So go ahead and follow that link, or you can take a picture of that QR code for that.
I'll just add, if you do not hit that join, you will not get auto notified about all of our awesome upcoming events. So please hit that join button if you would like to know more about our events.
And you don't want to miss them, because we have a ton of cool content that's coming. And next, okay, if you're interested in becoming a co-leader for a chapter, we're currently accepting applications for all the chapters that are down here. It's very fun. You get to collaborate with some really, really cool people. You get to learn a lot. I feel like I thought I was an expert in Workfront. not so much of an expert on AEM, but just joining with Autumn has been an amazing experience. It has opened a ton of doors for me. So this is a great experience. Please contact Julie if you want to host one of these amazing chapters.
Thank you, Cass. Next slide.
And now I will pass it over to Autumn.
Yep, so welcome guys. Let's talk about AI. This is a brand new Adobe community they've got going on. Please go join the conversations. There's at least once a month conversations that are happening, events just like this. Think of it like a user group, but all about the AI community and what's happening in the Adobe space. And the next slide. So really let's talk about premium learning subscriptions. They're really trying to push that and equipping customers with the knowledge and skills of what they need to get the most out of the Adobe technology. Some of these are there's a lot of free-based learning subscriptions that are available, but as well as the premium models that offer optimal training, private hands-on exercises, and certifications. All right, just going again to house rules. This is no self-promotion or pitching of any kind is permitted for these Adobe user groups, and we don't contact people outside of the user group without their consent. If a user group member shares their use case at a meeting, please don't share that information without their consent. I know for a fact for this event today, Crystal does have some handouts that we will take away and send out in an email following up with this. You do have her permission to share these and use these with your colleagues, but anything that we say that is not ability to share, please do not share. All right, so some really exciting news coming up. Our WUG Content Supply Chain is presenting an Adobe Product Summer Series. We're hoping to definitely get a meeting on the books for Workfront planning. It is supposed to be in May. We're waiting on an Adobe colleague to give us final dates of when it can be. If she cannot make May, it will be in July. We do have on June 26th, Mike Engel will be talking about approvals and workflows. And then Jeremy Flores will be talking about AI in August. These dates will be finalized by Summit, so more to come. Again, join that event, join our Workfront user group, and you'll get all the notifications for when these events go live in Bevy. All right. That's all we have for today on our house rules and guidelines. So now I would like to turn it over to Crystal Kibler, our presenter today.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thankfully, technology is working in our favor, so that's always great. So this is my first event. I'm so excited. Just to let you know who I am and a little bit about me. I am currently a Workfront practice lead at RightPoint, and I do have going on 12 years of deep Workfront experience, but I've also been a project manager. I got my start on the creative side. I've been a dedicated Workfront admin, formerly managed a global marketing PMO where like Workfront was the backbone of our workflow. So I've been in the Workfront realm a long time, big Workfront nerd, but really excited about the evolution of Workfront having been bought by Adobe in the content supply chain. But probably like a lot of you, like I started using Workfront because someone told me to figure it out and train everybody else. That was literally how I got my start 12 years ago. So probably totally relatable. So like, what's the story here? What's the use case? Why do we care about this? Well, we all know like creative teams are under immense pressure. We've got our classic spaghetti graphic here. You guys have probably seen this, right? More and more content all the time. How do we manage it? How do we get it out faster? There's just a lot going on. Anybody here can relate to that? Anybody like, what's your like biggest pain point for content right now? Anybody want to chime in?
Feel free to come off mute, raise your hand. This is definitely an interactive collaboration, but we have Annabelle that answered users. Any further context on what's the pain point on users?
Oh, like well, no worries. You can put it in the chat. And yeah, I just wanted reinforce like what Autumn's saying about making this a discussion too as we go throughout. Feel free to chime in. I'm going to try to pause here and there to get any input that you might have. All right. Well, it's definitely an issue. How do we, get the content produced and in a timely manner? And so, of course, Adobe is positioning the content supply chain as the solution, right? But you might maybe asking like, okay, how does that really work? How do these tools connect? Where are we at with the latest developments? Because I don't know, we're like 6 years in, I guess, after Adobe purchased Workfront. And to me, it's like really kind of that backbone to the content supply chain, and it continues to evolve. And so that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about today with some of the new integrations coming our way. And this is not a product pitch. It really is like I'm sharing a real world experiment that we did for a client at RightPoint just a month or so ago. But here is a visual of the content supply vision as we were implementing for our client. And so we were looking at Workfront, Creative Cloud, Frame.io, AEM Assets, and then of course, getting it out to those channels. So this was the vision. Of course, there's other tools in the stack like Gen Studio that we can talk about in another session, I'm sure. So what this session is and isn't is it is our experience with a real world experiment. So it's early lessons from a client proof of concept. I'm going to be honest about what worked and what didn't. So definitely not a product roadmap or anything, or like a seamless implementation. So really want to share kind of that raw experience that we had. We had a lot of lessons learned. So this was our scenario for our client. Our client is a retail client, specifically in the footwear industry. Our timeline was really quick. We just had like a 4-week proof of concept. And their situation was that we were already helping implement AEM Assets for them. They have Workfront. A previous department kind of abandoned it, and the creative studio was using Monday.com. And they thought, well, hey, if we're using AEM and we have Workfront, wouldn't it be great to see if Workfront could replace Monday, and then we could have a seamless content flow between Workfront and AEM? And we're like, yes, let's do it. Let's prove that to you that is indeed a possibility and will make your lives easier. And one of the particular focus areas I want to call out is this embargo date. And so there's a couple of groups at the company that we're working with. And one of the groups too was really specifically keen on this embargo date because there had been an incident where an asset was released before it was supposed to. So like, how can we set that date, attach that to an asset so that it flows through the tools and that doesn't happen again? So you'll see that in the demo. Again, platforms, Workfront, AEM, Assets, Creative Cloud, Frame. And you can see our simple little flow here. We'll go into this a little bit more in detail. I want to be mindful of time. So real quick, I'm just going to hit on those 3 integrations we looked at for this client. And a little bit about them in case you're not familiar. So integration 1 actually is Creative Cloud plus Workfront. What I'll show today is actually specifically the Photoshop plugin, but there are other tools like InDesign that has a plugin as well. So this is really cool because designers can stay in Photoshop and interact with Workfront through Photoshop. And I'm going to do a little demo about that. And you can see how that looks on the screen too. There's just a quick install link for Photoshop if you have if you need what's called self-service, but you can also have like even as an admin, deploy the plugin through Admin Console so that users automatically get that. But there is this link that's handy if you just want to go like install it yourself and check it out. And then there's a really cool video here I have the link to that, like if you want to sell some other folks at your company on what that looks like, it's a snazzy video that you can share with them. Two is Workfront plus AEM Assets, right? So connecting Workfront to your DAM. So in this flow, Workfront manages the work and AEM manages the assets. And so this is really critical for our client because they were kind of managing like their metadata on their assets in an Excel sheet and then kind of trying to transfer that into AEM. And sometimes things can be lost in translation. And so we wanted to help them by getting that metadata in sooner from that project level in Workfront, and that to create that metadata consistency and that embargo date. And then integration 3, Workfront plus frame.io. Personally, this was the one I was most excited about. Who else on the call is really curious about frame? Yeah, I know. Yes, us too. Very, very excited about checking this out. This will be where we will share most of our lessons learned for you all. So hopefully it's super helpful. Frame, if you're not familiar, is also a more recent tool purchased by Adobe. It specializes in video review and proofing. So kind of similar to Proof inside of Workfront, but really a powerhouse when it comes to video. And folks like the ability to like just, stop on a particular frame and circle something and say, hey, can we edit this to the timestamp, commenting, and then really handling those larger files. So very strong video collaboration. And now, in that Adobe stack. Does anyone know how long ago it was that Adobe purchased Frame? I want to say it's a couple years. So does anyone actually know? Oh, Monique. Yes, I agree. It's going to be really amazing once fully finished. 2 years. Yeah, I'm guessing like year or two. So it's a newer tool, right? So I think, Adobe is in the process of really hooking this up to Workfront. Okay, great. So just real quick about Frame, just a little bit more, because I know we're really excited about this. So I'm going to dive in just quickly, high level, with some lessons learned, because I won't be able to fully like demo the Frame component, which I was really hoping to be able to do. But what we have discovered in these early lessons learned is going to save you a ton of time, because we already went through it for you, like 2 months of figuring things out and learning. We do have 3 amazing attendee handouts for you today, one on each integration. The Frame one is going to have a lot of really detailed information for you. And like Monique said, once it's fully, together, it's going to be a really great integration, because the way Frame works, and maybe let me just jump ahead real quick and I'll just show you like these, yeah, so here you can see we do have this comparison table. I'll get to that in a minute, but here are some of the features that are really cool about Frame that we're excited about. Is like bi-directional syncing of projects between Frame and Workfront, sharing of the assets on the back end, unified approval, so being able to view the Frame proof viewer inside of Workfront, permission mapping for user management, and some other really cool things. So the integration here is like really like, it's like this, and the way that works is through Adobe Enterprise Storage, which allows tools like Workfront and Frame and AEM to share the same storage on the back end. So this is what's unlocking a lot of this cool functionality. But if you're gonna look at this for your organization and integrate it, one of the big things to know is that there's no switch in like, you might own Frame and you might own Workfront. You're like, where's the toggle in Workfront for me to turn this on or set up this integration? Right now, it has to be set up by Adobe. So you're going to want to connect with your Adobe reps for this. And then there's a series of other prereqs that you're going to want to go through. You need to be in the, your version of Frame needs to be in the admin console. Workfront and Frame need to be in the same org. All of these kinds of things. So we'll get the list for you, and we can talk about this a little bit more at the end. But if you're not eligible for the native, there is the Frame, and we do have this chart, which is also in the handout, so that you can see what some of those differences may be. So
right here, just because there's a bunch of questions people asked, this integration has launched. It is available for the general audience, but as Crystal mentioned, you want to reach out to your Adobe rep to be able to turn this on. But if you have further questions, I know Crystal will be more than happy to answer once we get through the rest of her presentation.
Yes, yes. I know there's a lot. I know you guys are probably gonna have a lot of questions on this one. I just wanted to preface it because I'm gonna do a demo here next, and I am gonna show Photoshop, the plugin with Photoshop, and how that kind of goes from how that asset's gonna go from Photoshop into Workfront into AEM. But I'm not gonna be able to demo how that works with Frame. But again, these lessons learned are gonna be really, really critical for you guys when you're looking at this for yourselves, and just making sure kind of have like a little checkbox, right, of all the things that you need to, all the boxes you need to tick to set this up. But it's largely you know, on Adobe's end just to turn it on, and so that's the easy part. The hard part is making sure you've got all the boxes ticked so that you're eligible to have it turned on. Okay, so are we ready for me to show a few things? Any questions before I share my screen and we look at Photoshop?
I think there's a question in the chat. Does this integration require a Fusion scenario?
The native one does not. So as long as you meet those prerequisites, you do not need Fusion for the native one. But if you are not in a position right now to do the native, some folks use Fusion anyway because it's just does even more advanced workflow. So it really depends on your use case.
Yep, that was just what I was going to add into comment back, is that the native connection does not require it, but there are plenty of use cases of being able to utilize Fusion to enhance the capabilities on connecting between Workfront and Frame.io.
Yep, exactly. And we do have, and just going back real quick, I know I went through it quickly, but we do have this comparison table for you guys too, so you can kind of see some the differences between that Fusion integration and the native, or how you can combine them, right? I'm sure there's like, right, to enhance, like I love that word you used, Autumn, like enhance it. So it's not an either or, it could be both.
Yes.
All right, sweet. Okay, I am going to just stop sharing for a moment so I can change my sharing settings and go over to sharing my entire screen so that we can look at Photoshop. All right. Share screen, entire screen, sweet. This is probably gonna be all weird for a second. All right. Here we go. Okay, do we see goldfish on a shoe?
We do.
Yes. All right. So this is for you, Autumn. Here are your goldfish. I generated.
Fantastic.
It's great. You love it? Okay. I generated this one for Autumn. So I did actually, because we're keeping our client name confidential, I did generate this shoe image using the generative functionality in Photoshop, which is so easy, guys. Like, I don't know if you've tried it yet, but it's so fun and cool. And you can see it just gave me variations as well. So we're just going to use our fun shoe image today to demo the plugin. All right. So I already have the plugin installed, and I have shared, we have shared in the, I think it's in the handout and also in the PowerPoint itself, or the presentation itself, a Tango walkthrough. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Tango, but while I was installing this for myself, I thought, let me document those steps and share it with you all in case you need to install it. So we'll share that with you too, so you can get a step-by-step of how to install the plugin. It is super easy. Once it's installed, we've got our familiar lion Workfront logo over here, and we're just going to click that. And the first time you do this, you're just going to log into your organization with your credentials, and then boop, there it is. So here we can see it's a really easy little panel that just pops out seamless inside of Photoshop, and it's going to pull in the designer's work list. So anything that they're assigned, and they can filter on other things if they would like, if they just want to see what's ready to start. I just have a simple demo project that I have this connected to, so you can see my tasks for this project. It's called Demo Digital Asset Production Project. So I'm going to pretend I've already completed my kickoff. And so I can actually come in here and mark this as done with my part. And then real quick, I can't see the screen right now, but like, how many folks have actually have this plugin? Like, is anyone familiar with this? Is this new? I'm just kind of curious how new this is for folks. If you want to put it in the chat, Autumn, if you want to let me know.
I'll let you know if we have anyone. You can raise your hand. There's a tool to raise your hand in the Bevy feature, or you can just add in the chat. So it looks like Kelly uses the tool. Dawn does not have audio. Monique is using the tool. Thomas is familiar with it. So we've got a few people.
Okay, cool. Well, I really am, as someone who has a background, used to use Photoshop a lot, I'm really impressed with how easy this is to use for folks. And so even coming in here and clicking that you're done with something, and then I love these little icons, right? You can just see, oh, okay, this is the project. You hover, this is the task, this is the subtask. You can see documents, your subtasks, any issues or AKA requests. Updates, and you can make updates and communicate and even log time. So I'm like, this is so amazing. I love this. So easy. What we're going to demo also that's super easy is sharing an asset or an image for review and approval. So now that I've marked that task as complete for the kickoff, now I can see my next task is to design a concept version 1, generate a proof, and circulate for feedback. So I'm going to click into this task. And you can see right here's also the description. This is really easy to see. And then I can come in here to documents. You can see I already have some sample ones in here, but I want to add a new one. So I'm going to hit new file, and I want to create a proof. So I can select the creative proof, toggle that on, and I can change the proof name if I want. And I can do a basic and add recipients or automated. So if you have any automated workflow templates for proofing, you can select your template here as well. So it's super, super simple. I'm just going to do a basic one. I'm going to assign it to myself. And then I'm going to put a comment. Hello, please see version 1 for your review. All right, and I'm gonna actually scroll a little bit down here so you can see that you can choose the asset type. So I'm gonna just do a PNG and upload. So it's gonna think for a second. It's gonna upload that. I'm gonna give it just a second. It's very fast, perfect. And then it's gonna render a preview. So right now it's here. If I click on it, I can look at it and get some document details. Ta-da. And if I want to actually pull up the proof, it's super simple. So I'm just going to click my little kind of arrow out button there. Now it's going to take just a second to prepare it. And once it does, it's going to take me straight to the proof. While it does that, let me back up a second and show you the actual project I'm using. So, you know, I did skip the first step of, right, there being a project created in Workfront, a creative project in that workflow. It's been submitted and the tasks are in here. So you can see here's my task, design concept version 1. If I click on this and I go to documents, we're going to see it in here as well. So here it is, fantasy product shot of a running shoe with goldfish swimming around. So this is the one I literally just uploaded. Let's see if I refresh, if this is going to show me the proof now. Ta-da! So really simple, even from Photoshop, right? Can click that and go right into the proof. And then you have your breadcrumbs too, where you can backtrack and go into the project. I do have it up again, so I can come here and you can also see my comment, document details, and my updates on the asset.
We have a question agreement in the chat. He's asking, when setting up basic workflows in Photoshop, can you set the proof roles? Roles, not roles. Excuse me, roles.
The proof roles?
Yes.
Oh, let's see. Let's go back. So I think what you're referring to is like if you, like the basic one that I did, because I did a basic flow.
Yes. Yeah. I noticed you added yourself, and I didn't see the option. Like, so if you add yourself and say you added Cassandra and Autumn, you know, one of them's a reviewer, one of them's an approver. Can you set that here, or do you have to retroactively go into the proof and then update the roles there? With the automated, I think it, you know, that's probably default if it's already set up that way. But for the basic, I'm just curious.
I haven't tried it myself. I don't see an option to do it here. Does anybody know? Does anyone have experience with that they can speak to it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's part of it has to be part of the automated process of when we've utilized it. The basic would just do a regular approval flow.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Great question. I love that. It would be cool, right? We should
I think it goes to whatever default is in Proofing HQ for that user.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep, that makes sense. So you control it
Ralph,
there.
yeah. Ralph is also asking, can we use AI reviewers from Photoshop? So I'll answer. I know this is coming down the pipeline. I saw an Adobe Insiders tour in Atlanta 2 weeks ago of this really cool AI reviewer that I don't know if it'll be in Photoshop, but it'll be in Workfront itself. I know it'll come at a cost in addition to Adobe, but if you're going to Summit or you're attending online, highly recommend start looking at some of those events that are taking place to learn more about what the AI reviewer can do. You can definitely use it with Infusion, though. I know that for a fact.
We did get the AI reviewer. It's in beta, and we got that enabled at RightPoint in our sandbox. So we're going to be testing that too and showcasing that at Summit as well. But yeah, my understanding is you can add that reviewer once you set it up to your proof workflows, and I would imagine if that's in your automated flow, you can attach that. But haven't tested it, so don't quote me on that. But very exciting, right? Yeah. What else? Any other questions before we?
And Sarah talks about considering using Frame.io for review of static image assets as well as instead of proof. And we definitely, I think Crystal will attest to what they're planning to do, but running into some snafus with their Frame.io integration.
Yeah, I know you can use the theoretically, right, the frame viewer inside of Workfront, but not sure how that's going to integrate, say, with like Photoshop, right? So we shall see.
Great questions, guys.
Yeah, I love these questions. I wish I had all the answers too. But we're getting there. It's we're learning a lot, and that's part of the joy of having these sessions, right? So we can all share and collect our individual knowledge as well. While I'm back in Photoshop here, did we want to look at, is there any other functionality that you wanted to see? I mean, I can show you logging time or marking that as done. I feel like for this demo, showing the actual asset and how easy that is like really the most interesting thing. But if there's anything else you're curious about, let me know while I'm in here.
I think it'd be good to show logging time. I think a lot of people like that concept in theory, but very few have actually seen it in flow.
Yeah.
So I think we wanted to showcase, since we've still got about 25 minutes left and we're still getting some questions in.
Sweet, I love it. Yeah, and just keep me on track too. All right, because I love talking about
as well.
All the things. Oh, sorry, Otto, what were you saying?
I would say Raymond's got his hand raised if we want to grab his questions while you set that up.
Yeah, just since you had this set up, it was just another question around the proof integration. So I saw like you had the updates piece, right? You say, hey, Autumn, here's the update, here's the proof. I know some of our users like using the customized email message feature. Is that something that's available here, so you can customize? Because a lot of our users have like custom messages that they like typically copy and paste like consistently to a certain set of users, or and so they utilize that when they set up like a basic workflow, for example. Is that option to set up a custom email message part of this?
I don't know. Anybody know the answer to that? I have the basics on this one where you could just go in.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious since you had it up. I
yeah,
see if you had
no, does anyone know? Can anyone answer? Raymond? That sounds really cool. I haven't used that person.
Renee's saying she doesn't think it is, but she can post an update to the asset, which is good. Bazada's saying nope. Yeah, I would say I don't know of that one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's something that you want. I highly recommend going to an Experience League, submitting a post as an idea, and then sending a link in, and we can all upvote it if that's a feature that we really want.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled to be able to reply in here and not have to go anywhere, right? This
Yeah.
is
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, because I was reading a stat too in preparation for this, that like designers spend like 70% of their time on administrative tasks and like 30% actually creating. So this is one of those things that cuts down on that, right? Switching between tools and task switching in general. So I enjoy it. And then of course logging time, like logging time is a whole topic in and of itself, right? Getting folks to log time. So it's built in, it's really easy, just hit the little clock icon, log time. The hour type is in here if you have hour types, and you can, go through and pick the different day. Obviously, if we're doing things right, we're logging it same day, right? Imagine that. So I'm just going to put in 0.25 for 15 minutes. And ta-da, there it is. Really simple. No excuses now, right?
Someone's asking if they can create a proof version from here, and I believe so. We've used that a lot too. So I don't know if you want to show that, Crystal.
Yeah, so the one that I uploaded is a proof, right? So if I click on it, it's going to take us straight to that proof version.
But there was an option there. There was a button down there in Photoshop that that gave you the option to upload a new version.
Oh, a new version of a proof.
Yes.
Oh, got you.
So there it is, new version down there.
Sorry, guys. Yes. So, yep, you can do a new version, and it's just the same process again, and it's gonna make that version 2. So we can let's do C version 2. All right, let's upload version 2. I mean, we're not going to have a difference. So sorry, guys. I probably should have drawn a smiley face on here or something. But I think just seeing that now there's the versioning drop down. Of course, it's being prepared. Oh, look, here we go. Ta-da! Generating proof for V2. And then, of course, then we can use our comparison tools to see the difference inside of the proof viewer if I had any differences.
Kelly, I think I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question, not necessarily a technical or product related, but as a capability owner, we do have this capability enabled today. And I'm thinking, yes, the designers are going to love this. This is awesome, right? Like all the things that you're showing, I'm like, that gets me excited, and I'm not a designer. However, some of the feedback that we have gotten from the designers are, I'm like, yeah, it's not really that valuable. It's just as easy to go into Workfront and do some of these things. So it sounds like, maybe exploring Fusion to enhance the experience might be beneficial. But I guess my question to you all is, do you have any recommendations or insight on how to do the change management and rollout side of features like this with teams?
Well, I can speak to that because I have the same exact experience, and it's because some of our designers have been with us for a really, really long time, and they're used to doing things one way, and it's very, very hard to get them to switch. But I found that there's one designer that is the person that I needed to get through, and he was able to send the message to everybody else. So that worked for me. I'm not sure if that's going to work out for you, but you get one person that can change the mind of a couple of people. And it's not me telling them, it's someone at their level, someone that knows what they're doing, to say, hey, I've been using this tool and I kind of like it, because then I don't have to switch from screen to screen. I can just do all of my work here. And there's a couple of actually other apps that we're developing for Photoshop and for Illustrator that allows them to save directly to AEM, and it allows them to actually work with Firefly directly from there. And these are some custom apps that we're building, right? But now they're seeing the advantages of working on the platform that they're used to and the one that they're experts in, rather than having to dig through Workfront and their dashboards and everything there. This is more straightforward. So if you can sell that to them and get one person to be kind of the spokesperson for the rest of the designers, I think that it really makes a difference. So you just have to convince one. And the rest will fall.
Yeah.
I also think this has been enhanced. I think I heard back before, it wasn't as robust. I can't speak to all the changes myself, but I am under question. This
No, I'll say I did a demo on this 2 years ago with the connection to Workfront, and this is way more robust than it was there. So depending on when they started using it, I highly would recommend, trying to give it a second time around.
Yeah. Because I, having been a designer in the past, like I think this would be really great and helpful. And like you said, change management, how do you convince them? And maybe just sit down, find I've heard, I don't know how many people have heard the squeaky wheel term, but sometimes if you win over your squeaky wheel or your detractor, your biggest, I guess, detractor, make them your champion. Like Cass is saying, that really goes a long way in getting other folks on board. So, but yeah, I think this has got a lot of functionality in here. Should make life easier for the designers. So of course, once we get it in there, if you guys want to see next, I can demo for you what it looks like to get that asset into AEM. Are we ready to transition to that part of the demo?
I think we're good.
All righty. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I can refresh this real quick too, if you guys want to see what that looks like with the other comment coming in. Yep. Perfect. And now we have the V2 and it's showing us there's another version. So pretty seamless and fast. So now let's go ahead and look at, here we go. Nope, this isn't the one. Where is let me switch. I'm going to go into my project here. Perfect. In my sandbox. So I've mirrored this project in my sandbox because my demo for this part is in my sandbox, not production. So we're just going to pretend that our image is the same one in here in my version 1. Or maybe I have it at version 2. Let me go back here to my documents because you're going to see it in here. I already have it uploaded in advance. Okay, here it is. So this is going to replicate what we just did where we have our image. It's in the project. And so now we're going to pretend that we have gone through all of our revisions. We've got a final file. We love it. And we want to send that final file to the DAM. So I'm just going to send it in there so you can kind of see how fast that works and that it's going to sync. And then we'll go back behind and open up the hood and see what is configured to allow that to happen. So you can see in my project here, I do have a folder in here that is linked to AEM, and you can see this little icon. You can hover on it and it's going to tell you that is AEM Assets. So we know that it's linked and it's got the little link icon. So this is my link folder. I'll show you how we created that in a minute. I like to just drag and drop. So I'm going to take our photo that we uploaded from Photoshop and I'm going to drag it in here. And you can see it's moving. Boom. All right. Lovely. So if I open this folder up, it is in there. Still loading the thumbnail pretty quick, which is awesome. And then just kind of like similarly what we did in Photoshop where we clicked on the image and it opened it right into the proof viewer. If we click on this, this is going to open it in AEM. So it's thinking about it. It's still loading the graphic. So I'm going to come back for a second because one of the big things that we care about in getting this over is one, of course, the ease of just shooting it over there, right? That's really great. But the metadata, right? So if we remember in our use case, our client really wanted that metadata to sync, especially those dates. So how do we get those on there? That's going to be a really cool thing that I'm going to show you that we did. All right, cool. I refreshed. So here it is. It is in AEM, and I can look at my properties. So this is where I'm going to see the metadata. So we've got some simple fields here. We didn't go super crazy, and they're not populated with anything, right? Because I didn't add those yet. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, where I'm going to add them and how, and then we'll refresh and we'll see them in here. So for our proof of concept, we had channels, product type, season. We're working on tags. That's a whole other animal, so just ignore that. And we've got our project name synced from Workfront, also a special URL field, which I'll share the calculated text mode for if you want to bring this field in. reference number, and then our dates. These were the big ones. So let me go back to the project. And the way that we've made this super easy for our client to add that metadata is we've got this asset metadata dashboard attached in our project. And so we've got 2 reports in our dashboard. We have one that's like all of the assets on the project here. And then once they've been linked to AEM, we have a list down here. So I should have showed you this before I linked it so you could have seen that this wasn't in this report yet, but it is now. And then this allows us to easily add that metadata just by clicking in line. So we've got, this is our one that we're working with right now. And so I'm just going to come in here and we're going to say, well, it's not really technically a photo, but I'm just going to pick photo because I'm pretending. And so if we come back now to AEM and I refresh, we're going to see now that photo has synced over from Workfront. And so you can, even after, you can do this before you send or after and sync these things. And of course, our embargo date, super critical. Let's add that. I'm going to just pick a random date here.
I just want to add, same with Cass. I think this is phenomenal. Seeing what you're doing here on this dashboard, I don't even know if you have the ability to do Crystal, but if you could export of what that dashboard looks like and how you created that, I would turn this into a perspectives article because I think a lot of people could really utilize having this special dashboard here for their individual assets. Just phenomenal work.
Oh, thank you. Yes, happy to share it. It's like makes it so much easier, right? Because otherwise you've got to attach a form directly to the asset. And what's really cool about this for you pros out here, you probably realize what's happening here is this is based on a document custom form, right? That's attached, that you need to attach to the asset, but so that you don't have to do that. And I'm sure you could automate this with Fusion, but this isn't even with Fusion. As soon as you go in here on your asset and you add one of these fields, Workfront automatically attaches the form to the asset for you. So yeah, so that's it's just a little sweet trick workaround. And then we can easily add that.
I'm just going to mention, and that's configured. I'm assuming that's configured in the native integration in your AEM setup, correct?
So like, no, there's no like that part where it adds the form is.
No. Are you connecting the pieces in the AEM setup within the settings, so it knows that this field
mapping
goes to
the fields, basically?
Yes, mapping the fields.
Yeah, so I can show that next too if you guys want. So I want to show you what fields we mapped and where that lives, so you know what that looks like. Let me see if there's anything else on this part. This is pretty straightforward. Do you guys have any questions about just that syncing of the data? Because I just wanted to show that real quick. And then
showcase it. I know we only have about 10 minutes. I just wanted for anyone on the call that wasn't aware of where this takes place, that it was happening in
let me show you. Yeah, okay. So let me show you where that gets configured. I'm going to go and show you a little bit of the backend configuration that we have, and it's very straightforward, right? And so, and also keeping in mind that there's a metadata schema that gets set up in AEM. So we're going to have the metadata schema, and then we're going to have our form or whatever fields we want set up in Workfront. And once you connect AEM, which is really simple and straightforward, because it's going to be in setup under documents, experience manager assets, and then you can add more than one, right? You can add your experience manager integration. I already have mine set up, but I'm going to edit it so you can see what that configuration looks like. So pretty straightforward. You get your, and there's instructions for this, and we have our handouts too that you can reference. So I'm not going to talk about that part. We want to look at this metadata. So this is our mapping right here. So we've got our experience manager assets field that we set up in our schema. And then we have our Workfront field, and we just come in here and we're like looking for, whatever field that we want. And, you would choose that. And then you say, okay, now I want to pick this field in my custom metadata, and I want to add that particular field. So now I have them in there. I'm like, oh, how do I get rid of them? Oh, don't save. All right. So now one caveat, I know we're running out of time, but if you have fields that you want to map and they're drop downs, you need to make sure that the choices are exactly the same, because they're not going to AEM's not going to say, oh, you're, missing one, let me add it for you. It's not that smart. So you want to be very aligned on those choices so that they can sync up there. So you can see the ones we picked. We have this metadata as a table in our handout for you, so you can have that to reference. And the one cool one that I really like is this project URL. We created that as a concatenated field so that we could bring that into AEM, so that if you're in here and you want to navigate back to that project, you have the link. So that's also in our handout for you. So you can create that for yourselves if you like. And then the workflows themselves. So I talked about that folder. We have that folder that's on the project. That's getting on there automatically because we have created this workflow. This is a pretty standard one where you say, okay, when this project gets created, I want you to create a portfolio in AEM, like map the portfolio, map the program of the project, map the project name. And then you can see that we have only chosen to have this folder show up on the project itself. And this is the one that I dropped that image into, that synced it into or sent it into the DAM. And so then once you set this up at the system level, when you create your project templates, you can easily apply this to your template. And then when your project gets created from your template, it's automatically there, which I can also just show real quick if you wanted to see on the template, but I know we're running out of time and I want to make sure we have Q&A time too. So let me know what you want to see next. Questions? Let me pull this up real quick.
Just while you're doing that, Jessica, yes, the recording and docs will all be shared later after this call. Just give us a day or two to get everything together. There will be a few handouts, as Crystal mentioned. We've got about 8 minutes left, so I see a few hands raised. So let's go ahead and start with Becky. You've got your first question.
Yes. Yeah. Great session so far. My question is, when you are uploading these into AEM assets, you need to you can't have all your users or people who are accessing the brand portal see all of your assets. So where are you assigning and how are you assigning who comes into your brand portal and what assets they have access to? Are you using a Workfield or Workfront custom form to make home groups and those are equivalent to the ones in AEM, or what exactly are you doing to monitor the rights of assets for all of the people who go into your brand portal?
Autumn, I'm going to have you take that question because you're the AEM.
Sorry, I was typing another message, so please say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Yes, sure. So when you are uploading these assets into AEM and they're on a brand portal, there needs to be some sort of way to monitor when users come in to access the assets, who has usage, who has rights to access each of those assets. Not everybody can come into the brand portal and access all 100% of your assets on there. So where are you assigning the user rights in for who has access to what in AEM?
That's a great question. Yeah. So your admin console is going to be your source of truth. I would recommend starting at the admin console level, especially if you're at the highest level, if you're doing this setup. That's where everything should be. It should not be in the individual systems, Workfront or AEM. It should be in the admin console, creating those different groups and then assigning them their rights, capabilities in the admin console.
Okay, so you're not using a custom form on the asset to assign.
No, because it gets really difficult of showcasing. It's like, oh, you've shared this out with somebody. This group has this permission. So in my mind, well, I guess there's two ways to do it. So depending on what level of difficulty you want to get into. So Becky, we might want to take this one offline for more specific use cases. But I would say that your admin console is going to be your source of truth for who should have access to what. If there's certain content that has to be gated because it's a product launch and you only need 10 people to look at it, I would still create that group in the system itself and then go on a folder level permissioning within the brand portal to allow that access. So that would be the only use case of if no one else can see it.
We have because it's on assigning the asset, which user group needs to see it.
If it's on a true asset level, then I would do the folder level within AEM or within brand portal.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
We can always take it further offline. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Anupam? Anupam, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, thanks. The asset metadata is, if my asset is on a particular task, can I pull the metadata from other tasks? Because if it is at a project level, I can understand it works fine. But if it is at a particular task and I need to pull the data from somewhere else and sync it to AEM, is that still possible?
Crystal, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to?
I would think so. I'm trying to remember if we did that. We pulled, things into AEM from the project level. So yeah, I think so, right? And you can also pull things down onto the form. Yeah.
So I'll give you a little better description. If the documents are being uploaded from the project level into AEM and the metadata lives on a task, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to workflow into that. You could use Fusion to automate it, but typically speaking, the task metadata the document would need to live under the task itself, under the task document, for the metadata on the task to run through. I've gone from project level down to task, but I've never gone from task up to project level.
Right. And it hasn't worked all the time. Like, you really have to get into it, but I have been able to pull metadata from like a parent task to go into AEM. I can't recall exactly how we accomplished that, but we were able to do that. So if the document is at a subtask level, I can pull data from the parent task. You have to tweak the kind of how you type it and how you put that in there. But I have been able to accomplish that.
And did you use Fusion for that?
No, I used the native integration for that. Okay. But yes, you can use Fusion for that, for sure. Probably going to be easier.
Use Fusion to go from task to project. That is 100% capable.
Yes.
And Crystal, how did you get the metadata tab there on the left-hand side? Is it a new dashboard that you had to create?
Yeah, so what I wanted to show real quick is where that metadata, how it was getting onto the asset on the project. So this right here is a custom form that is a document level custom form. And this is what auto got attached to my asset when I started entering that data into my dashboard, because I've created this in advance. And so, but you can come into custom forms and add it yourself, but there's no way to automate that like you can with custom forms on a task in your project template. So this is a little sneaky workaround where it'll just auto attach it when you fill in that line in your dashboard. But this is the actual form we created to house the metadata at that document level or asset level. And so you can see here again, here's our channels, right? They should all look familiar. And then I have this section called general project information, and I'm pulling this down, right? From the project onto this document, and this is a calculated field that we created, right? If I hover on this, you can see what that formula is, and we'll be sharing that with you as well. So I imagine, right, because if this is now, and I didn't put this under my task in my sandbox, but in my original demo, my other project, this document is under the specific task. And so I would experiment with pulling that data from the task that a document lives onto a form to see if you can move that over into AEM. What else?
I know we only have 2 minutes left. Are there any last slides that you want to showcase 100%? Crystal, I know there's a few more slides on your deck. You don't have to, but if there's anything you want to share last few minutes.
Just wanted to just invite everyone to connect with us. Let me share real quick again. I just want to give a really big shout out to Hassan on the call. Hassan Al Said, you may see him chiming in. Hassan has helped a lot with making the presentation pretty and testing things and the handouts. So the handouts are amazing. I can give you a quick sneak peek of what those look like in my browser here, but please connect with both of us. I want to make sure Hassan gets credit for all of his hard work because I couldn't have done this without him. And also, Autumn Cass, I don't know if we're close enough, I can call you Cass, but thank you for the opportunity to come on and share what we've been working on and learn together, because I'm really excited about what's coming with Frame. I mean, there's a couple slides in here I didn't go over, but like where we're going with Adobe Enterprise Storage, AI agents, all of this good stuff. So I'm excited for the future, and thanks for having me. And hopefully we will continue to learn more together as we move along. And then one last thing, I guess, let me just sneak peek.
I just did that very last slide before the Adobe one.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
Nope.
I can share it too.
No, we're good. We're good. Which one?
Down after your thank you.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, you guys got to wrap yours
One
up.
more time, please, guys. For the chapter, 3 really awesome sessions coming up. Product Summer Series, you get to talk with the product team. Us as champions, we get an special access to the product team, but this is your time to shine. They're going to show you some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline, but it's your time to ask questions to the actual product team who's working on these things that we want to see. So please join our chapter so you get those event invites. Thank you so much, Crystal. This was phenomenal. We will get everything shared out. This is recorded. It'll be shared out. Thank you, guys. Cass, anything else you want to include?
No, thank you so much, everyone. Yes, please join. We have a lot of content coming. Oh, and if you guys are going to Summit in person, we're going to be there. So look for us. Contact us through LinkedIn, or you have my email. Just let us know. We would love to meet you in person.
Yes, we are both going to be at Adobe Summit. We did not get a chance to get those on there, but super exciting to see all of these wonderful names. I think I know quite a few people on the call, and we'll hear from you guys next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.